Captain Li Wu stared at the three massive shapes moving slowly toward Earth. They were not like anything he had ever seen before. The ships were huge, bigger than any human spacecraft, but they moved like wounded animals. Smoke and strange. Lights came from their damaged hulls. "Sir, they are sending signals," said Lieutenant Park from the communications desk. "Many different languages. I think they are asking for help." Li Wu rubbed his tired eyes. He had been awake for 18 hours since the alien ships first appeared on their screens. Earth had always wondered when aliens would come. They had movies and books about it. But nobody expected them to arrive broken and begging. "Get me Dr. Park So-young," he ordered. "We need our best language expert here now." The bridge of the Earth Defense Station buzzed with nervous energy. Everyone knew this was the most important day in human history. First contact with aliens. But these aliens seemed to be in trouble. Commander Kim Tae-ho walked up to Li Wu. His face was serious and worried. "Captain, I do not like this. 3 alien fleets show up damaged. It could be a trick. Maybe they want us to feel sorry for them, so we let our guard down." Li Wu nodded. Kim Tae-ho was smart and careful. It was good to have someone who thought about dangers. "I understand your worry, Commander, but look at their ships. They are really damaged. Some are barely flying." Dr. Park So-young arrived on the bridge 30 minutes later. She was a small woman with quick eyes and messy hair. She had spent her whole life studying languages and communication. If anyone could talk to aliens, it would be her. "Show me what you have," she said, sitting down at the communication station. The sounds that came from the alien ships were strange. Some were like music, others like machines talking, and some sounded like wind through trees. Dr. Park listened carefully, making notes on her tablet. "This is amazing," she whispered. "There are at least 3 completely different types of communication here, but they are all saying the same basic thing." "Which is?" asked Li Wu. "Help, please. We have nowhere to go." The largest of the 3 ships was dark red and covered in what looked like weapons, but the weapons were silent. The second ship was silver and perfectly smooth, like a mirror floating in space. The third ship was the strangest. It seemed to change shape as they watched, like it was alive. "Captain," said Lieutenant Park, "I am getting clearer signals now. Dr. Park, can you try to respond?" Dr. Park So-young took a deep breath. She had practiced this moment in her mind many times, but it still felt impossible. She was about to talk to aliens for the first time in human history. She started with simple math. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. Basic things that any intelligent species would understand. Then she moved to pictures: a circle, a square, the sun. The response came quickly. The aliens sent back the same math, the same shapes. Then they sent something. New pictures of 3 different worlds. Pictures of their ships when they were new and beautiful. Pictures of crowds of their own people pointing at them and pushing them away. "They are showing us that they were forced to leave their homes," Dr. Park said quietly. "These are not invaders, these are refugees." Kim Tae-ho frowned. "Or that is what they want us to think." More pictures came through. The aliens showed their damaged ships limping through space. They showed empty fuel tanks and broken systems. They showed their people sick and dying. Then came the most important message. 3 different alien faces appeared on the screen. Each one was completely different from the others. One looked like a warrior with sharp teeth and scars. One was pale and thin with large eyes. The third seemed to shift and change like smoke. But all 3 faces showed the same thing: sadness, hope, and something else that Dr. Park recognized immediately. "They look human," she said. "I mean, not in how they look, but in their expressions. They feel things the way we do." The warrior alien spoke first. His voice was deep and rough, but Dr. Park's computer was starting to translate. His words, "We are the broken ones," the translation read. "Cast out by our own kind. We seek only a place to exist in peace." The pale alien spoke next. Her voice was like singing. "We questioned what should not be questioned. For this we were marked as dangerous." The third alien's voice was like many voices speaking together. "We learned to think alone. Our people could not forgive this crime." Li Wu felt his heart grow heavy. These were not conquerors coming to take over Earth. These were people who had been rejected by their own societies, people who had nowhere else to go. Dr. Park asked them why they came to Earth. She worked on the translation for several minutes. The answer came back quickly. We heard your signals, your music, your messages of peace and hope. We thought, perhaps, you might understand what it means to be different. The bridge fell, silent. Everyone understood the weight of this moment. Humanity had always been proud of being individuals, of thinking freely, of accepting those who were different. Now they had found aliens who had been thrown away for the same reasons. Kim Tae-ho walked to the window and stared at the damaged ships. Captain, even if they are telling the truth, we cannot just let them land on Earth. We do not know what diseases they might carry. We do not know if they are dangerous. Li Wu nodded. You are right. But we cannot just turn them away either. Dr. Park, tell them we want to help. Ask if they would accept shelter on our moon, while we figure out the details. The response came back faster than before. All three alien faces appeared on screen again, and this time they looked surprised and happy. You would do this? You would help strangers from far away? Yes, Li Wu said, even though he knew the aliens could not understand him yet. Yes, we will help you. As the three refugee ships slowly changed course toward Earth's moon, Li Wu wondered what he had just started. Some people on Earth would be angry. Some would be scared. But he believed they were doing the right thing. These aliens had been cast out for thinking differently, for questioning their leaders, for being individuals instead of just parts of a group. They sounded very human indeed. 6 months had passed since the alien refugees arrived at Earth's moon. Yoon Hae-jin wiped sweat from his forehead as he finished installing the new air filter in the Kalari section of the lunar base. The work was hard, but he found it interesting. Each alien species needed different things to stay healthy. The Kalari were the warrior-like aliens. They needed hot, dry air that reminded them of their desert homeworld. The Vinthari were the pale, thin ones who liked cool, humid conditions. The Morphak were the strangest. They seemed to change what they needed based on their mood. How is it going, Hae-jin? Asked a deep voice behind him. Yoon Hae-jin turned around and saw Veltar, one of the Kalari refugees. Veltar was tall and strong with dark red skin and sharp teeth. His people had been warriors for thousands of years. But Veltar was different. He had chosen to be peaceful, and for that, his own people had thrown him away. The new filter is working well, Hae-jin replied. Your people should be more comfortable now. Veltar nodded and sat down on a nearby bench. Even sitting, he was taller than Hae-jin standing up. You do good work, but you look tired. You work too much. Hae-jin smiled. Over the past months, he had become friends with many of the alien refugees. At first, it had been scary. They looked so different and strange. But once he got to know them, he realized they had feelings just like humans did. I like the work, Hae-jin said. It makes me happy to help you feel at home here. Home. Veltar repeated the word slowly. We have no home now, only this place you have given us. The sadness in Veltar's voice made Hae-jin's heart hurt. He had learned that all three alien groups were dealing with deep pain. They had been rejected by everyone they had ever known. Some days, many of them did not want to get out of bed. Dr. Kang Min Seo had been working hard to help them. She was a therapist who specialized in helping people from different cultures, but working with different species was much harder. The problem, she had told Hae-jin last week, is that they were cast out for having the same qualities that humans value. The Kalari threw out Veltar because he preferred talking to fighting. The Vinthari cast out Quinn 9 because she questioned their strict social rules. The Morphak rejected Strand, who thinks alone, because he wanted to be an individual, instead of just part of a group mind. Hae-jin had met Quinn 9 and Strand, who thinks alone too. Quinn 9 was brilliant. She understood technology better than most human scientists, but her pale, large-eyed face often looked sad. Her people had told her that asking too many questions was dangerous. Strand, who thinks alone, was the hardest to understand. Most Morphak shared thoughts with all other Morphak, but Strand, who thinks alone, had learned to think for himself. His people said this made him broken and useless. "Veltar," Heijin said, "do you ever miss your homeworld?" The big alien was quiet for a long time. "I miss the red sunrise over the crystal mountains. I miss the song that the wind makes through the stone valleys. But I do not miss my people's endless wars. I do not miss being told that peace makes me weak." "Peace does not make you weak," Heijin said. "It makes you strong in a different way." Veltar looked at him with surprise. "You really believe this?" "Yes. Humans have wars too. But our greatest heroes are often the people who choose peace when everyone else chooses to fight." While Heijin was talking with Veltar, problems were growing back on Earth. General Choi Dong-wook had been speaking to the media every day, telling people that the aliens were dangerous. He said they might be spies or that they carried diseases that could kill all humans. "We made a mistake," General Choi said on the news that morning. "We let our emotions control our thinking. These aliens should be moved somewhere far from Earth. We cannot risk our entire species for a few alien refugees." Many people on Earth agreed with him. They were scared. Some groups had even formed to demand that the aliens be sent away immediately. But other people supported keeping the aliens on the moon. They had seen the videos that Dr. Park So-young shared. Videos of Quinn-9 teaching human children about the stars. Videos of Veltar helping human workers lift heavy equipment with his great strength. Videos of Strand who thinks alone creating beautiful art that made people cry with its beauty. The worst day came when a group of human extremists attacked the lunar base. They used a small ship to sneak past the defenses and set off a bomb near the Vinthari living area. 3 Vinthari were hurt, and 1 human guard died trying to protect them. Heijin was working in the Kalari section when the alarm sounded. He ran toward the damaged area and found Veltar already there, digging through the rubble with his bare hands. "There are people trapped," Veltar said, his voice tight with worry. "Vinthari or human?" asked Heijin. "Does it matter?" Veltar replied. They worked together for 2 hours, pulling twisted metal and broken concrete away from the trapped victims. Other aliens came to help too. Morphak used their shape-changing ability to squeeze into small spaces. Vinthari used their technology to scan for life signs. When they finally rescued everyone, Heijin sat on the ground exhausted. Veltar sat beside him, his red skin covered in dust and cuts. "Why did they attack us?" Veltar asked. "We have done nothing wrong." Heijin did not know what to say. How could he explain that some humans feared anything different? How could he explain that some people thought violence was the answer to fear? "Not all humans are like that," he said, finally. "Most of us want you here. Most of us think you make us better." Over the following weeks, something amazing happened. The 3 alien groups who had barely spoken to each other before began working together. Veltar, Quinn-9, and Strand who thinks alone formed a leadership council. "We all understand what it means to be cast out," Quinn-9 explained to Dr. Kang Min-seo. "We all know the pain of being told that we are wrong for thinking differently. This gives us something in common." The 3 leaders started meeting every day. They made plans for how their people could work together and help the humans who had given them shelter. Veltar taught human security guards better fighting techniques. Quinn-9 shared advanced technology that could help Earth's scientists. Strand who thinks alone created art that helped humans understand alien culture. But even as things improved on the moon, the political situation on Earth got worse. More and more people wanted the aliens gone. Protesters gathered outside government buildings. Some politicians said they would force the aliens to leave if they were elected. One evening, Heijin found Veltar standing alone in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. "Are you thinking about your home world?" Heijin asked. "No," Veltar said. "I am thinking about yours, about the blue and green world that took us in when we had nowhere to go. I am wondering if we have brought too much trouble to your people." "You have not brought trouble," Heijin said firmly. "You have brought hope. You have shown us that intelligence and kindness exist throughout the universe. You have made us feel less alone." Veltar turned to look at him. "You really mean that?" "Yes, and I am not the only one who feels this way." As if to prove his point, Quinn-9 and Strand who thinks alone entered the observation deck. Behind them came a group of human workers and scientists. "We heard about the new protest on Earth," said Dr. Park So-young, who had come to the moon to continue her language research. "We want you to know that many of us will fight to keep you here." "Fight?" asked Strand, who thinks alone, his form shifting with concern. "Not with weapons," Dr. Park explained. "With words and votes and laws, we will not let fear win." As they all stood together looking out at the stars, Heijin felt hope growing in his heart. Humans and aliens working together, supporting each other. This was what the future should look like. But none of them knew that far out in space, 3 massive fleets were moving toward Earth. And these fleets were not coming to rescue the refugees. They were coming to destroy them. Lieutenant Nam Ji-hoon was on routine patrol when his ship's long-range sensors picked up something that made his blood run cold. 3 massive fleets were moving toward Earth's solar system. Each fleet was bigger than anything humanity had ever built. "Control, this is Scout 7, he said into his radio, trying to keep his voice steady. "I am reading multiple large contacts approaching from deep space. Request immediate backup and orders." The response came from Admiral Bang Soo-jin herself. "Scout 7, return to base immediately. Do not engage. We are sending additional scouts to confirm your readings." Nam Ji-hoon turned his small ship around and flew as fast as he could toward Earth. His hands were shaking as he thought about what those fleets might mean. Earth had only a few dozen military ships. These alien fleets had hundreds. Back on the lunar base, Veltar was teaching a group of human children about Kalari culture when the emergency alarm started blaring. All non-essential personnel were told to return to their quarters immediately. Dr. Oh Kyung-mi was working in the communications center when Captain Lee Woo arrived with a grim expression on his face. "Doctor, I need you to monitor all alien communications immediately," he said. "We have 3 large fleets approaching Earth and we need to know what they want." Dr. Oh Kyung-mi's fingers flew over her equipment. She had been working for months to understand alien communication systems, using knowledge shared by the refugees. Now that knowledge might save Earth. Within an hour, she had intercepted the first communications between the approaching fleets. What she heard made her feel sick. "Captain," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "you need to hear this." The translated message was clear and terrifying. "Contaminated specimens located. Host species show signs of infection. Prepare for sterilization protocols." Captain Lee Woo closed his eyes. "Get me Veltar, Quinn 9, and Strand who thinks alone immediately." The 3 alien leaders arrived within minutes. When they saw the serious expressions on the human faces, they knew something terrible was happening. "The fleets belong to our former people," Lee Woo said without introduction. "They are coming here. We need to know why." Veltar's scarred face went pale under his red skin. "Show us the communications you intercepted." Dr. Oh Kyung-mi played the recordings. As the 3 aliens listened, their expressions changed from confusion to horror. "No," whispered Quinn 9, her large eyes filling with tears. "They cannot mean to do this." "What are they planning?" asked Lee Woo. Strand, who thinks alone, spoke first, his form shifting rapidly with distress. "Among my people, when individuals break away from the collective mind, they are not just cast out. They are marked as a disease that might spread to others. If the disease is not contained, the entire collective could be destroyed." Quinn 9 nodded sadly. "The Vinthari leaders believe that questioning authority is like a virus. If it spreads, their perfect society will collapse. They will do anything to stop it." Veltar's hands clenched into fists. "And the Kalari fear that if other warriors see that peace is possible, they will stop fighting. Without constant war, Kalari culture would die, so they must destroy any evidence that another way exists." "But why attack Earth?" asked Dr. Oh Kyung-mi. "We did not do anything wrong." "You sheltered us," Veltar said quietly. "You showed kindness to the outcasts. In their eyes, this makes you carriers of the disease. They believe you have been infected with dangerous ideas about individuality and compassion." Captain Lee Woo felt anger building in his chest. "So they plan to destroy Earth to prevent these ideas from spreading?" "Yes," said all 3 aliens together. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Admiral Bang Soo-jin arrived on the lunar base to coordinate Earth's defense. She was a small, tough woman who had spent her whole career preparing for the possibility of alien invasion. But she had never imagined it would happen like this. "How many ships do they have?" she asked Lieutenant Nam Ji-hoon, who had just returned from another scouting mission. "The Kalari fleet has about 200 warships, all heavily armed. The Vinthari have fewer ships, maybe 80, but their technology is much more advanced than ours. The Morphak fleet is hard to count because their ships keep changing shape, but I estimate at least 150. Admiral Bang Soo-jin did some quick math in her head. Earth had 37 military ships, most of them small patrol vessels like Nam Ji-hoon's. They were completely outnumbered. "Can we negotiate with them?" she asked the 3 alien leaders. Quinn-9 shook her head. "They will not listen. In their minds, we are already dead. We stopped being their people the moment we were cast out, and now they see you as infected with our dangerous thoughts." "What thoughts?" asked Admiral Bang Soo-jin. "What is so dangerous about the way you think?" "We believe that different ideas make a society stronger," said Strand, who thinks alone. "We think that asking questions is good. We value peace over war, knowledge over blind obedience, individuals over the group." "Those sound like human values," said Admiral Bang Soo-jin. "Exactly," said Veltar. "That is why they fear you so much. You prove that our ideas can work. You show that a society can be strong without forcing everyone to think the same way, Doctor." Oh Kyung-mi continued monitoring the alien communications. The news got worse every hour. The 3 fleets were coordinating their attack. They planned to destroy Earth's moon base first, killing all the refugees and any humans who tried to protect them. Then they would attack Earth itself. "They are not just trying to kill us," she reported. "They want to destroy any record that we ever existed. They plan to wipe out all evidence that their outcasts found a place where they were accepted." In the refugee quarters, panic was spreading. Many of the aliens had already accepted death. They sat quietly in their rooms, waiting for the end. But others were angry. "We will not go quietly," declared a group of young Kalari. "If we must die, let us die fighting beside those who showed us kindness." Quinn-9 gathered the Vinthari scientists. "We have knowledge that could help Earth defend itself. We should share everything we know about our people's weapons and tactics." Strand, who thinks alone, reached out with his mind to every individual Morphak on the base. For the first time since they had been cast out, they felt connected again. Not as a mindless collective, but as individuals choosing to work together. "Captain." Li Wu called an emergency meeting of all humans on the lunar base. The main meeting room was packed with engineers, scientists, soldiers, and support staff. Many of them looked scared, but none of them talked about running away. "I want to be clear about something," Li Wu said. "The approaching fleets have given us an ultimatum. They want us to hand over all the refugees and promise never to help alien outcasts again. If we agree, they say they will leave Earth alone." The room was completely silent. "I am not going to lie to you," Li Wu continued. "We cannot win a military fight against these fleets. They have more ships, better weapons, and advanced technology. If we choose to protect our alien friends, many of us will probably die." Yoon Hai-jin stood up from his seat near the back. "Captain, are you asking us to vote on whether to protect them?" "Yes," Li Wu replied. "This decision affects all of us. Everyone should have a say." The vote was not even close. Out of 300 humans on the lunar base, 297 voted to protect the refugees. Only 3 people voted to hand them over. Dr. Park So-young wiped tears from her eyes as she spoke. These aliens were cast out for thinking like us, for believing in the same values we believe in. If we abandon them now, we abandon ourselves. When the alien refugees heard about the vote, many of them cried. They had never experienced loyalty like this before. Their own people had thrown them away, but these strange humans were willing to die rather than betray them. Veltar found Captain Li Wu alone in his office later that night. "You should reconsider," the big alien said quietly. "We have lived our whole lives knowing we were different. We have accepted that we would die for our beliefs. But your people, they have families and children and futures. Do not let them Die for us? Li Wu looked up from the reports he was reading. Plans for Earth's hopeless defense against the approaching fleets. Veltar, let me ask you something. If the situation were reversed, if humans were the outcasts, and your people had to choose whether to protect us, what would you do? I would protect you, Veltar said without hesitation. Then you understand why we cannot do anything else. Outside the lunar base, the stars looked peaceful and beautiful. But 3 massive fleets continued moving closer to Earth. In just a few days, the shooting would begin. The war that would decide the fate of both humans and alien outcasts was about to start. The first attack came at dawn. Wing Commander Jiang Su-bin was leading a patrol of 6 human fighters when the Kalari warships opened fire. The space around Earth's moon lit up with energy beams and explosions. All units, this is Control, Admiral. Bang Su-jin's voice crackled over the radio. We are under attack. Defend the lunar base at all costs. Jiang Su-bin watched in horror as 3 of her fellow pilots were destroyed in the first 30 seconds of combat. The Kalari ships were faster and stronger than anything Earth had built. Their weapons could cut through human armor like paper. Control, this is Wing Leader, she reported, trying to keep her voice steady. We need help out here. Our weapons are not doing enough damage. Back on the lunar base, Chief Engineer Han Bo-ram was working frantically with Quinn 9 to upgrade human weapons. The Vinthari scientists' pale hands moved quickly over the equipment, making changes that human technology could never achieve alone. Your energy weapons are primitive, Quinn 9 explained as she worked. But if we modify the power cores with Vinthari crystals, they will be much stronger. How much time do we need? Asked Han Bo-ram. For all your ships? At least 6 hours. We do not have 6 hours, said Colonel Im Sang-woo, who was coordinating the lunar base's ground defenses. The Kalari landing ships will be here in 2 hours. Veltar appeared in the engineering bay, carrying a large weapon that looked like it was made from black metal and red crystals. Then we fight with what we have. Kalari against Kalari, if necessary. You would fight your own people? Asked Han Bo-ram. They stopped being my people when they chose hatred over understanding. Veltar replied, Now my people are anyone who stands for peace and acceptance. In space, Wing Commander Jiang Su-bin was learning just how outmatched Earth's forces were. The Morphac ships were the worst to fight because they kept changing shape. Just when she thought she had a clear shot, the enemy ship would twist into a completely different form. Control, I need those weapon upgrades now, she called over the radio as another human ship exploded near her. Working on it, replied Chief Engineer Han Bo-ram. Give us 30 more minutes. 30 minutes felt like forever when alien warships were trying to kill you. Jiang Su-bin used every trick she had learned in flight school. She hid behind asteroids, used the moon's gravity to change direction quickly, and worked with the other surviving human pilots to set traps for the alien ships. But they were still losing badly. On the lunar base, Strand Who Thinks Alone was doing something no Morphac had ever done before. He was trying to break into the collective mind of the attacking Morphac fleet. This is very dangerous, he told Dr. Oh Kyung-mi as she monitored his vital signs. If the collective discovers what I am doing, they could destroy my mind. Are you sure you want to try this? She asked. Your people are dying to protect us, he replied, his form shifting with determination. This is the least I can do. Strand Who Thinks Alone closed his eyes and reached out with his consciousness toward the Morphac fleet. At first, there was nothing but the familiar buzzing noise of the collective mind, all thoughts moving together, no individual voices. But then he found something unexpected. Hidden deep in the collective, he sensed other individual thoughts. Other Morphac who had learned to think for themselves but had been too afraid to break away. Meanwhile, Quinn 9 had finished upgrading the weapons on the first group of human fighters. Wing Commander Jiang Su-bin was amazed at the difference. Control. The new weapons are incredible, she reported as her upgraded fighter destroyed a Kalari ship with a single shot. Whatever you did, it worked. But even with better weapons, Earth's forces were still heavily outnumbered. For every alien ship they destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. The real battle began when the Kalari landing ships reached the lunar surface. Colonel Im Sang-woo watched from the command center as hundreds of Kalari warriors poured out of their ships. They were bigger and stronger than humans, with weapons that could melt through the base's outer walls. "All defensive positions, hold your ground," he ordered. But the human defenders were not alone. Veltar and 30 other Kalari refugees had armed themselves with weapons from their old ships. They knew exactly how their former people would attack, and they used that knowledge to set up perfect ambushes. The first group of attacking Kalari walked straight into a trap. Veltar and his followers attacked from hidden positions, using the same tactics that had been used against them when they were cast out. "For Earth," Veltar roared as he fought. "For those who accept the different." In space, Strand, who thinks alone, made a breakthrough. He had found 17 individual Morphak minds hidden within the collective. Slowly and carefully he began to wake them up. "Remember," he whispered to them across the void. "Remember what it feels like to think for yourself. Remember that you have choices." One by one, the hidden individuals began to break free from the collective. And when they did, they started to fight back against their own fleet. The tide of battle began to turn when the Morphak collective suddenly started attacking itself. Ships that had been working together moments before began shooting at each other. "What is happening to the Morphak fleet?" Admiral Bang Soo-jin asked Dr. Oh Kyung-mi. "Strand, who thinks alone, is creating a rebellion," she replied with amazement. "He is freeing individual minds from the collective." But the battle was far from over. The Vinthari fleet had been holding back, studying the human defenses and looking for weaknesses. When they finally attacked, their advanced weapons cut through Earth's ships like they were made of paper. That was when Quinn 9 made a desperate decision. She connected her mind directly to the lunar base's defensive systems, using her knowledge of Vinthari technology to turn their own weapons against them. "I can predict their attack patterns," she told Chief Engineer Han Bo-ram as her consciousness merged with the base's computers. "But I cannot do this for long. My mind is not designed to interface with so many systems at once." For 20 minutes, Quinn 9 controlled the entire lunar defense network. She made human weapons move faster than human reflexes could manage. She calculated firing solutions that would have taken human computers hours to figure out. She turned the lunar base into a weapon that could fight the Vinthari on equal terms. But the effort was killing her. Her pale skin became even whiter, and strange lights began to flicker under her translucent flesh. "Quinn 9, you have to stop," Han Bo-ram pleaded. "You are dying." "Not yet," she whispered. "Your people need more time." In the battle on the lunar surface, human soldiers and alien refugees fought side by side. Colonel Im Sang-woo watched in amazement as a Vinthari scientist used her technology to heal wounded human soldiers. A group of Morphak individuals worked together to lift heavy debris off trapped humans. But the most inspiring sight was Veltar leading a charge against a group of Kalari attackers. The big alien warrior moved like a force of nature, but he was not fighting to destroy. He was fighting to protect. "Surrender," he called to his former people in the Kalari language. "You do not have to do this. There is another way." Most of the attacking Kalari ignored him, but a few stopped fighting. They looked confused, like they were waking up from a dream. The battle reached its climax when the 3 alien fleets coordinated a final attack on the lunar base. Every weapon they had was aimed at the same target. If this attack succeeded, all the refugees and their human protectors would die. Wing Commander Jang Soo-bin knew what she had to do. Her fighter was damaged and her weapons were almost out of power, but she could still fly. "Control, this is Wing Leader," she said calmly. "I am going to ram the lead Kalari ship. Maybe that will break up their formation." "Negative, Wing Leader," Admiral Bang Soo-jin replied. "Return to base immediately." But Jang Soo-bin had already turned off her radio. She pointed her damaged fighter at the massive Kalari command ship and pushed her engines to maximum power. Just before she reached the enemy ship, another fighter appeared beside her. Then another. Soon, 12 human pilots were flying in formation toward certain death. But they were not alone. Veltar had somehow gotten one of the old Kalari ships working. He flew beside the human fighters, his voice coming over the radio in broken English. "We fight together," he said. We die together if we must, but we never surrender. The combined attack broke the alien formation just long enough for the lunar base's defenses to destroy several enemy ships. The battle was not won, but it was not lost either. As the surviving ships regrouped for another attack, Strand, who thinks alone, made an announcement that changed everything. "My friends," he said, speaking simultaneously to human and alien minds, "I have news. The rebellion is spreading. Across the galaxy, outcasts are rising up. Your courage has inspired others to fight for their freedom." In space around Earth's moon, the three alien fleets suddenly found themselves facing not just human defenders and refugee ships, but also rebel fleets from their own civilizations. The battle that had started as Earth's desperate last stand was becoming something much larger, a war between those who demanded conformity and those who celebrated difference, and humanity had chosen which side to fight for. President Sim Yun-young stood in the Emergency Command Center deep beneath Seoul, watching the battle in space through dozens of screens. Reports were coming in from all over the galaxy. The rebellion that had started around Earth's moon was spreading to every corner of known space. "Madam President," said her aide, "we are receiving communications from outcast groups throughout the galaxy. They are asking permission to come to Earth." Sim Yun-young looked at the tactical displays. Earth was barely surviving the current battle. How could they help even more refugees? "Tell them yes," she said without hesitation. "Tell them all that. Earth stands with those who think differently." In space, the battle had become something nobody had expected. Wing Commander Jang Soo-bin, who had somehow survived her suicide run when Veltar's ship took the worst of the impact, was now leading a mixed fleet of human, rebel Kalari, free Morphak, and escaped Vinthari ships. "This is incredible," she reported to Admiral Bang Soo-jin. "I have ships from 12 different species fighting alongside us. They all say they heard about Earth's stand and came to help." The turning point came when Strand, who thinks alone, achieved something that should have been impossible. He completely broke the Morphak collective mind. "I can feel it happening," he told Dr. Oh Kyung-mi from his bed in the medical center. The effort of freeing so many minds had nearly killed him, but he was smiling. For the first time in 10,000 years, every Morphak is thinking as an individual. The results were immediate and dramatic. The Morphak fleet stopped attacking Earth and started attacking its former allies. Ships that had been part of a unified assault force suddenly became hundreds of independent actors, each making their own choice about what was right. Most chose to stop fighting. On the lunar surface, Colonel Im Sang-woo was witnessing something equally amazing. Groups of attacking Kalari were laying down their weapons and asking to speak with Veltar. "They want to know how we found peace," one young Kalari warrior told Veltar through a translator. "They are tired of endless fighting." Veltar, his red skin marked with new scars from the battle, looked at the young warrior with compassion. "Peace is not found," he said gently. "Peace is chosen. Every day, in every moment, we must choose understanding over anger." The young warrior stared at him in amazement. In Kalari culture, admitting that you did not want to fight was the greatest shame possible. But here was a warrior who was proud of his choice for peace. Meanwhile, Quinn 9 had recovered enough to begin working with captured Vinthari officers. Most of them were terrified of her. In their society, she was seen as a disease that could corrupt pure thoughts. "You question the natural order," one Vinthari commander said to her. "You spread chaos and disorder." "I spread questions," Quinn 9 replied calmly. "And questions lead to better answers. Look around you. See what happens when different minds work together instead of following orders blindly." The Vinthari commander did look around. He saw human engineers working alongside Vinthari scientists to repair damaged ships. He saw species that had never met before sharing knowledge freely. He saw individuals from many different cultures treating each other with respect and kindness. "This should not work," he whispered. "But it does work," Quinn 9 said with a smile. "It works because we choose to make it work." As the days passed, more and more ships arrived at Earth. Not attack ships, but refugee ships. Outcasts from dozens of different civilizations, all seeking the same thing the original three groups had found: acceptance. Ambassador Kwon Jae-sung was working 20 hours a day to coordinate the massive humanitarian effort. Earth's moon was no longer big enough to hold all the refugees, so they began establishing camps on asteroids and abandoned space stations. "How many are we expecting?" asked President Sim Yoon-young during one of their daily briefings. "Conservative estimate? About 2 million individuals from 47 different species," Kwon Jae-sung replied. "And more are coming every day." The numbers were overwhelming, but humanity was not facing the challenge alone. The reformed Morphac Collective had become a network of individuals who chose to share thoughts and resources. The rebel Kalari had stopped fighting each other and started building things together. The Free Vinthuri were using their advanced technology to help everyone. The final battle of the war came when the original 3 alien governments sent their most powerful warships to Earth. These were not the regular fleets that had been fighting for weeks. These were the elite guard ships, piloted by the most loyal and fanatical warriors from each species. "They will not surrender," Veltar warned Admiral Bang Soo-jin. "These are the true believers. They would rather destroy everything than accept that they were wrong." The battle was fierce and desperate. The elite ships were more advanced than anything Earth had faced before, but they were also badly outnumbered. For every elite ship, there were now dozens of rebel ships and refugee vessels willing to fight to protect their new home. Wing Commander Jang Soo-bin led the final assault personally. Her mixed squadron of human, Kalari, Morphac, and Vinthuri ships moved like a single organism, each pilot knowing exactly what the others would do. "This is for every outcast who ever felt alone," she said over the radio as they attacked. "This is for every individual who was told to stop thinking for themselves." The battle ended not with destruction, but with surrender. Faced with the reality that most of their own people had abandoned them, the elite guard ships stopped fighting. President Sim Yoon-young's speech to the galaxy was broadcast from Earth to every corner of known space. She stood before representatives of dozens of species, human and alien refugees working together in the background. "Today, we establish a new kind of alliance," she said, her voice carrying across the void, "not based on species or planet of origin, but based on shared values. We believe that different ideas make us stronger. We believe that asking questions is good. We believe that individuals matter as much as groups." The Terra Covenant was signed by representatives of 63 different species. It established Earth as the capital of a new kind of interstellar government, one that protected the rights of individuals to think differently, to question authority, and to be accepted regardless of their origin. Admiral Bang Soo-jin, now promoted to Grand Admiral of the Covenant Defense Force, oversaw the integration of hundreds of different ship types and fighting styles into a unified fleet. But this fleet's main job was not to fight wars. It was to rescue outcasts and protect refugees. "We have become something new," she told her mixed staff of human and alien officers. "We are not just Earth's defense force anymore. We are the guardians of everyone who thinks differently." Ambassador Kwon Jae-sung found himself busier than ever as more and more outcast groups requested sanctuary. His office on the rebuilt lunar base was always full of alien refugees seeking help. One day, a young Kalari approached him. This warrior had been cast out for refusing to kill prisoners of war. "I heard that on Earth, mercy is considered a strength, not a weakness," the young Kalari said hopefully. "Yes," Kwon Jae-sung replied with a smile. "Here, we believe that showing mercy makes you stronger, not weaker." The most amazing change came in the original 3 alien civilizations themselves. Seeing the success of the Terra Covenant, many of their people began to question their old ways. The Kalari discovered that societies built on constant war eventually destroyed themselves. Some Kalari worlds began experimenting with peace treaties and cooperation agreements. The Vinthuri learned that asking questions led to better technology and happier people. Their rigid caste system started to break down as individuals proved that worth was not determined by birth. The Morphac Collective evolved into something entirely new. Instead of forcing all minds to think the same thoughts, they became a network where individuals could choose when to connect and when to think alone. 10 years after the first refugee ships had arrived at Earth, Captain Lee Woo, now retired, sat in a garden on Luna Station watching children play. Human children played alongside young Kalari, Vinthari, Morphak, and members of dozens of other species. They laughed together, learned together, and dreamed together. Dr. Park So Young, now elderly but still energetic, was teaching a class nearby. Her students were preparing to become the first interspecies diplomatic corps in galactic history. The most important thing to remember, she told them, is that communication is about more than just language. It is about understanding that everyone has value, no matter how different they might seem. Veltar, now bearing the title of Peacekeeper, General, was training a new group of Covenant Defense Force officers. But instead of teaching them how to fight, he was teaching them how to find peaceful solutions to conflicts. Strength, he told his mixed class of humans and aliens, is not about how hard you can hit. Strength is about how much you can care for others, especially when they are different from you. Quinn9 had become the head of the Covenant Science Council. Her laboratories were filled with researchers from every member species, working together to solve problems that no single species could handle alone. When minds work together instead of competing, she explained to a group of young scientists, we can achieve things that seem impossible. Strand, who thinks alone, had perhaps changed. The most, he was no longer alone.